Hello Chipsters, welcome to another one of Gav's videos. Today we're looking at some, three 28mm Empress Miniatures Vietnam United States Marine Corps for the Tet Offensive, so the Battle of Hue. As I've done with my other ones, if you've ever seen any of my other Vietnam videos, I believe they're in my 28mm war games, what they call them, you know, the things you can go in files or whatever, you can go and see what my past videos. I don't put them in a separate one because otherwise I've got enough as it is. Ones I just keep for myself for private reference, like different vehicles and stuff, and obviously the million and one things that I paint and build on this channel. They're Empress 28mm metals. I've sculpted by Paul Hicks, who's a well-known British sculptor of wargames figures. You can usually tell his work. He's all sculptors tend to have, obviously, just in like figure painting, they have their own style, and I really enjoy his stuff. Doesn't matter what period. There's always a good attention to detail, and that's for me is one of the main things. Never mind how the sculpt flows. Obviously, they have to do certain things pose-wise to get them into, which I've only learned really recently when I was digging into it more, how sculpting to having the plane, or whatever they call it, to get it to sit in a mould. That's why you sometimes have to have arms off on if you've got a figure pointing up forward and all that type of stuff. They have to do certain poses to fit the moulds. Just thought I'd throw that out there, really. After all these years of painting, I hadn't really looked into it. Connor's riding up. Sorry about that. Wardrobe malfunction, I believe that's called. Just the three. As I say, I've only got probably, I'm just looking, I've got three US Marine Corps figures, well, one US Navy because I've got a corpsman as well, that I'm going to just show you in a minute, unpainted. I've got probably 3 or 4 left in the bag, or bags, probably 5 actually. I am thinking of, when I've got a bit more money in the next few weeks, putting an order into Empress for some English Civil War figures, but I will also replane, as we say in the army, my Vietnam figures. They do a beautiful range of ARVin, that's the Army of Republic of Vietnam. But although I want to do some, I think I'll just flesh out the Marines I've got, because originally I was going to sell these, just paint them up and sell them, but I'm really struggling getting people to pay less than more than a £5 for them, and I've to be honest with you, I've been spitting the dummy of late. I've got to admit, I'm sick and tired of selling figures for peanuts on eBay, and I'm just not. I'm saying I'm not doing it. I have to a degree, just to keep some money coming in, but it's getting for the time I put into figure painting, I'm just not getting it back, and it's getting rather annoying at the moment. Unless you're a name. If you're a name, you can command a decent price, but if you're not, you're peeing into the wind, really. So I've decided I'm going to keep. You know me, I'm a Vietnam buff and Vietnam War buff, and I'm keeping them. So I'm not just giving them to people for peanuts. I'm sick and tired of that. Mini rant over with. Let's go down to the bench and look at these 3 figures. I'll do a quick look at the unpainted ones as well. I've got a bench that's full up. We've even done some 6mm over the bank holiday weekend here in the UK. I found a packet that I didn't realise I had. So now I've got 2 American Loyalist units to go to yet another project that's just... This is what I do. I've got 1,000,001 projects. I sometimes sell them on just because I end up with too many projects. And I unless you sell something, it's like the Vietnam stuff. The money that I've bought in those figures, really, should I be keeping them? But I'm not going to get the money for them, and I'm not having people laughing at me. And that's what it is, really. You just nah. Look at the bargain I got. Look at these. Nah, I'm not doing it. So I'm keeping the Vietnam figures to go with everything else. All the other projects you go. Well, the Indian Mutiny, that hasn't got any farther forward. It's the one single regiment that's missing 2-3 figures is still sat in my dust. I'm going like that because in my dust-free drawers behind me. Yeah. Oh well. Let's go down and take a look at it. Right, guys. These are my 3 solitary. If they're solitary, if they're 3 of them, I'm not sure. 3 figures anyway. We've got one with a frog's pattern helmet cover, and 2 with the more woodland helmet covers. And let's go from left to right. So, we've got this fella. He's got the waterproof on. Oh, should we have something to point with, Gav? That isn't. Oh. Do I have a pointy stick that won't scratch the paint off? These haven't been varnished, by the way, yet. The bricks I know are large compared to the figure. I had some spare blue foam that I'd been practicing some carving on, actually for some 35mm figures, I believe. 1 in 35, I should say. But when I was actually looking at one of the 1,000,001 pictures I look at the Battle of Hue, there was actually, I wouldn't say monumental bricks, but large-scale bricks were probably the base of other buildings. And you could say they were a lot bigger scale to the Marines that were around them, so that gave me the excuse to use these up. The spent cartridges, yes, are too big in scale. I did try stretch. I'm useless at stretching sprue. No matter how much I try, all I do is burn my fingers on my tea tree candle, or snap the damn thing before it's even got any distance. I just cannot stretch sprue for life. If there was an Olympics in stretching sprue, I would be disqualified. So yeah, so that is what it is. So that's just plastic rod, which I didn't really want to use up because it's expensive, but I needed to put some shell casings around. So sparkling a bit still at the moment because they're, let's say, unvarnished. Bit of plastic card, just all the off. I save every bit of off cut I've got because you never know when it'll come in handy. So I'll just use some, bits of wood lying around. You're never going to get you can only get a feel for the urban fighting that was going on. There was a lot of old colonial buildings and pre-colonial buildings in Hue. It was an ancient city till most of it got flattened. Bits of what I usually do, get a piece of rod again, plastic rod, and cut it off and make tin cans. Just get if it hasn't got a hole in the middle, I get just me pin vise, just drill in. This one's upside down there, so it doesn't really make much difference. But yeah, really beautiful figures by the old Hicks Pasha. He does a cracking job. Again, where I can, differ the water canteens, because they were different colours depending on what you got issued with. Gave him more of a olivey green or warm green body armour, just a bit of a transition from the grey green waterproofs that they're wearing. So that's that guy. Our standing figure. Stuffed up. Oh, I've got to go back to that. I've stuffed up the combat knife there. That needs to be sorted. I thought I had sorted it. Why is it you wait to a video and then you just find stuff you haven't blooming done? So yeah, before I varnish these tomorrow, I need to sort that. So again, bits of rod that's been made into tin cans, and you can't go over the top, but it's enough just to show in a more urban environment. I believe it's the first time I've put raised walls on any of the bases. I will do some more of that in future. The M60, the pig, again used a bit of the raised wall that just put it on its side there. It's like a strip of bricks that just lying flat. Again, usual busted up plastic card. Different, painted and non-painted wood. Got some flagstones there. Again, I know it's not ultra realistic, but it gives it again the urban feel rather than the Boondocks type of thing. I know I've pinned myself into a corner with these, or painted myself into a corner with these, but I don't really care. I've always been, I wouldn't say fascinated, but read up on the Battle of Hue a fair bit. you know, out of all the Vietnam actions, it's the one I like to read up on the most. I put a few rounds here. The little black bits of paint square, that's supposed to be for the black that you see on the belt there. Obviously, it's a disruptive. Is it disruptive? I can't remember the blooming word for it now. I used to fire the pig, but I used to fire the Jim Pig, British version of the belt-fed medium machine gun. But as the rounds come out, the links break up. So wherever there's been some firing, you'll see amongst the rounds lots of carbonised black and blacky brown metal links that are broken up. It's obviously not like the old-fashioned, say, Vickers gun with its webbing bandolier that once it's fired it will come through the other side. This is, you literally break up into loads of little pieces. So I've just tried to show that with paint, really. Again, just done a bit of a like a tin of tuna or something on the side. Waterproof, that's just been shoved in the back there. These boxes here are spare rounds, belts ready to be broken open in like cardboard. Tried to mess up as usual, put some mud and stuff, because most of these guys are spending their times on the belt buckles, lying prone, and obviously picking up a load of dirt, and they'd be rolling around obviously. So yeah, it just needs a varnish, and that's 3 more to. I wanted to do a piece of scenery, like a backdrop at a foam board or something, just to put the figures. I didn't realise I'd got as many figures as I had actually when I went into one of my boxes that I keep them in, and they all need magnetised at some stage. I've got to get some Kuratani stuff to magnify the bases. Here's a guy with his glasses on. He's the corpsman, so I believe, like in the Royal Marines, the Navy provide the medical facilities, obviously because they're the troops for the Navy, if that makes sense. I just drilled out, not brilliantly, but drilled through there with a pin vise, just so it wasn't a block of metal. Self-defense, well, it's not so much for him even, it's to defend the wounded. And again, extra bags for carrying more medical supplies, and obviously more water canteens for the wounded. So that's our naval corpsman. We've got another kneeling figure. Don't think it's the same. No, it's not the same figure as the other guy. So that's good. Oh, and that's the other thing I do. I drill out here. You need to get a little 0.5 drill bit, 0.4, 0.5. Just gently. I literally just do them, but I don't even put them in any type of drill. I just hold them by hand and just gently drill through. And once you've chain drilled about 3, you just get your scalpel in there, and it'll usually clean it out. But anything bigger and you'll open the top up, so you just got to be a bit careful. Of course, I've done such a good job opening that one up, but I haven't done it on that for some reason. I don't think it's that. It doesn't notice that much. So yeah, that's that. Another standing figure. Again, open that up. The big square here are respirators. And again, I just to show a bit of difference. I mean, obviously there's difference in the figures. They've been sculpted with rain jackets on, some without, and their trousers as well. And I just changed the colours of the combat body armour. Very slight change of colours on the bandoliers. These are bandoliers, if anybody doesn't know, for extra magazines. Well, not. In the British, it's just clips of ammo that we put in our magazines, so they're not actual magazines in there. They're clips and strips of ammo that you feed into your magazines. And then I obviously change the helmet covers around. If I'm doing 3, one time it'll be 2 woodland and 1 frog pattern, and then vice versa, on the next ones. But again, Paul's done a fantastic job with You know, some have got helmet bands with a load of stuff in, some only a bit. It all varies. I've got one of these here with a torn head helmet cover. One of the guys I've painted has got no helmet band on at all. That's that guy there with the M60, I believe. Really nice. There's some grenades in there. They're always hard to tell on white metal until you've got some primer on them, but yeah, very, very nice. Can't speak too highly of these figures. And by the way, they've got some World War II Brits out, late war, which I'm going to have to paint a few at some stage. I think they're brilliant. We've got some NVA, North Vietnamese Army. Just the two out of that pack that I've got. This guy and this one with the pith helmet. It's got the like Khmer type scarf on. It's never very successful with the bipods. I can never get them to fold up properly, because obviously you've already got hand grips and that, so that's a bit of a bummer with these. You can shorten them and stuff. I did it with the other ones and it didn't look brilliantly, not that these do particularly, but it is what it is. They're firm enough on there, so that's fine. And that's it. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look at these three figures. As I say, I've got these to paint up. Again, it takes me sometimes anything as a month or more, just doing everything else that I've done on the side. What else have we got? We've got these little 6mm at the moment. Done those over the last 3 days. Found a packet lurking in amongst everything else. So these are American loyalist regiments in the American Revolution, which would be the Prince of Wales, and I believe I painted the white facings as Delancey's. I know that they went later on to red coats with green jackets and that, but early days they were white. Either that or the reenactors I was following for doing their uniforms have got it totally wrong. There we go. I was going to put these on the bases and realised they didn't fit, so they're going to have their own little stands, those commanders. And obviously more of these guys. King's German Legion. That's Warlord Epic. So to give you an idea, that's just 6mm against 13mm. Oh, there are some colours going on these. I'll tell you what, Loyalist Regiment colours are the hardest things to track down, as in what they look like. Absolute nightmare. I can see me just having to fudge it and painting a couple of colours on a King's colour apiece. Anyway, I digress. So, look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look. We'll get some more Vietnam on the go soon. I've also I bought a couple of bags of Steel Fist miniatures, I believe, Landsknechts. I've always wanted to paint Landsknechts. I must be mad. Well, I am mad, aren't I? But must be mad. Lots of flamboyant colours and stripes and everything. So I bought 2 packets of those, and they are being sold on no matter what happens. Or I drive over them if they don't sell. Putting them up as singles, I am not losing, well, not so much losing money, but losing faith in giving stuff away. So yeah, we've got some of those coming. So at some stage I'm going to have to replane on the Empress. Whether I go down there, I just fancy painting some. I've been wanting to paint some English Civil War, and I could do it in Epic, but I'm quite happy going along on the Epic, painting those and chucking the odd unit up for sale. Is it in Napoleonics, if that makes sense? So I might do a unit of metal, 28mm. I'm not sure yet, but I'll definitely be getting some more Vietnam figures, and I'm just trying not to get tempted with those British late war, World War II figures they've got as well for the European theatre. So yeah, look after yourselves. We'll be back soon with another video as always. I keep promising a dragonfly video, but that's got to come over the next couple of days because it'll be completely built at this rate. There's that. I would like to get on that FAMO at some stage as well this week if possible. And I've got the client's the client's alternative armies, blues to do, that's dragoons, Napoleonic, 1815. Horses are painted on those for the first 10, but nothing else at the moment. And I'm just about to remedy that. So look after yourselves. How many times have I said that? And we'll catch each other on one of Gav's many videos. See you soon.